Yeah. And this is what Piers constantly does. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel.
Welcome back. Today we are responding to a shocking, amazing, ridiculous story that's broken in the UK. It's gone mainstream. We've had a lot of requests for this. Basically, a school gave 4 piglets to the students to raise, which will then be slaughtered at 6 months old.
Priestland School in Lymington, Hampshire presented the students with the piglets in order to teach them how to fatten up pigs for slaughter. In the face of a furious backlash, the school said in a statement that its intention was to educate our students about where their food comes from and to do this in a sustainable way, as well as preparing students for employment locally.
And it has confirmed that the pigs have been returned to their original owners. The issue became public when animal rights campaigner Ed Winters, aka Earthling Ed from YouTube, launched a petition to save the pigs. The petition is now at almost 50,000 signatures.
The great news is this story has made mainstream media on Good Morning Britain, hosted by every vegan's favourite, Piers Morgan. We're going to take a look and respond.
Our priority was to help students understand where their food came from. So we know that children today at Priestlands and at schools up and down the country don't understand where food comes from. They didn't necessarily understand that sausages were meat.
Yeah, this is very true. There is a disconnect between the products that we're eating and the actual animals that they come from. So it is not a bad thing to teach children that sausages come from pigs. However,
we certainly weren't evangelising meat eating. We know that a couple of our youngsters became vegetarian or vegan as a result of what we were doing.
What you were doing was normalising eating meat.
But we also know our school is in a rural community. Many of our parents are farmers. Many of our youngsters will go on to work in those farms, and that involves rearing animals for meat.
Yeah, so this always comes back to the economy, and we always are talking about jobs and the loss of jobs and livelihoods and all that type of thing. These are the same arguments that would have been used by the slave owners only 150 years ago before the abolition of human slavery.
And it's also giving the next generation the false impression that raising animals for food is sustainable, and it's not. So why would we be teaching the next generation of apparent skills in an industry that is dying? Why aren't we teaching the next generation of how to farm plant foods? That's what's needed for the future.
You have some pigs at the school, and the pupils care for those pigs, look after them, help to rear them. And then at what point do those pigs get sent away, and do they come back in any way?
They're sent away after about 6 months. And yes, well, they come back as meat products, yes, which are served in the school kitchen and served and sold through the school and through local community butcher shops.
I love the language here. Sent away, so they're going on a little vacation, they're going as a retreat, and then they come back as meat products. It's kind of like this, just the use of language kind of made it feel very distant and cold. And why don't you say exactly what's happening? They're not sent away, they're sent to slaughter, and they come back, they said as meat products, but it's just that sent away as though...
Off to boarding school or something like that.
Yeah.
So they come back as sausages, and do the children at the school who've raised the pigs know that they are eating sausages made from the pigs which they helped to rear?
Oh yes, we've never had it as a secret. It's always been honest and open, and the sausages are sold as Priestland's porkers, and we make a big point of saying these are sausages made as a result of the pigs that were reared at our farm, and they sell out very, very quickly.
Oh, they sell out very, very quickly. Aren't you proud of that?
Yeah.
How sadistic is this?
It is sadistic, and it is normalising meat eating, and it is sending a message that provided we treat them in a certain way, that is, take care of them, it's okay to ultimately have them killed and to consume their dismembered body parts.
I just think this is so traumatic for students. I mean, you're talking about very young to be, forming this beautiful bond with these animals for 6 months, and then to normalise that we're going to kill them and eat their bodies. It's really sick. All we have to do, if we're thinking, oh no, this might be a good idea, all we have to do is replace the pig with a dog. Okay, and if there's something wrong with raising dogs in that way and then slaughtering them and turning them into sausages and feeding them back to children, to their carers, then it's the same thing for raising pigs.
What the school is doing is actually selling them a lie, because 97% of where pork and bacon comes from isn't from happy pigs cared for by children in a sunny walled garden. It's not even in farms, it's in buildings, in factories, where those pigs will never see daylight.
So what the vegan has said here is exactly right. He's talking about the humane lie. I think we've got to a point where everybody agrees that factory farming is wrong, so the meat industry has been pushing this happy meat myth, this humane lie, where you can have happy meat, happy dairy, happy eggs, when in actual fact, all of these animals, irrespective of how they're raised, are ultimately killed. That is the issue, but they're trying to make people feel good about their bad habits by saying, there is a solution, you don't have to stop eating meat altogether, just make sure the animals were happy before we slit their throats.
The other thing this situation does is it makes the students feel very comfortable about consuming animals. And so when they go to the supermarket, the majority of the meat products they're surrounded by do not come from farms where their animals have been raised the way the school has raised them. Even if they had, it would still be wrong. But they are going to kind of associate those animal products like it's okay to be eating them. That there's this unrealistic expectation that these animals have been taken care of, because that's what the students are used to seeing, and they're going to associate that with the products they see in the supermarket.
So actually you have an issue not with what the school is doing, you have a general issue with factory farming.
Okay, so the journalist here is trying is trying to make it a factory farming versus humane happy meat.
It's a welfare issue.
Welfare issue, that's right, yeah.
Well, it's actually a use of animals full stop issue.
Why have you set up a petition to stop the school doing something which actually you've already said is a better practice, which is rearing these animals in a sort of happy environment?
So here the presenter is trying to make the vegan look like they are endorsing happy meat and are solely against factory farmed raised animals.
It's a good point, but what I would say is that having a school, a secondary education department involved in the killing of an animal.
They're serving meat every day. They're involved in the killing of animals.
But no, they're not involved in the killing of the animals.
Well, they're involved in the consumption of the product of killing animals.
The difference is the part in the middle, Piers, when they slit the animal's throat and chop their head off.
That's a massive difference. That's the taking of the life right there. Not the caretaking of the life, the taking of the life. That's the difference.
Well, the difference is...
The school serves up sausages.
Why
does it matter where they've come from?
It doesn't, actually. That's the first rational thing you've said, Piers. It doesn't matter. It's wrong.
It matters because by having the pigs in the school and killed by the school, and bear in mind the school make the call to have the pigs killed, that sends an unspoken rule, an endorsement to the whole meat industry that that's okay, that's a normal thing to do.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and the reason why I think the vegan father said this, from our understanding, is because if we can normalise this to children in schools, then that's kind of giving the tick of approval that it's okay for everyone to do. It's okay to eat meat. You know, what we teach our kids is like the baseline. If it's good enough for them, well, then it's obviously good enough for everyone else. So...
Serving the sausages sends a message that pigs get killed for food.
It does. We vote with our dollar. So every time the school purchases those products to then sell to the students, the school is voting for the slaughter of those animals and sending a message to the meat industry that yes, produce more of that, we want more of that, we support that with our dollar, that's okay, we endorse that practice.
Yeah, I think the difference here is when you're teaching the kids to raise the animals and you're talking to them about the whole process of killing them and turning them into sausages, it's kind of like taking that to the next level where the kids are no longer disassociated with the whole process of what they're eating. So it's entrenching this indoctrination to the next level. It's normalising it, basically.
Well, it's already normalised, it's super normalising it, if we could say.
No, I think...
Serving chicken means cute little hens get killed for food. I mean, why lie to kids? Why not, as this head teacher, I think has been quite sensible about, why not just show them the whole process?
But you're not showing them the whole process, are you, buddy?
And now the vegan is being painted as the liar, the one hiding things. As the saying goes, people who have nothing to hide nothing. The vegan's not hiding anything. The vegan is calling for showing the kids the entire process, the slaughtering, the slitting, the taking of the life.
They're not going to do that. And this is the thing. I mean, how many times have groups like Anonymous for the Voiceless and people who put on the Earthlings experience, those who show slaughterhouse footage in public to bring this awareness to the mainstream, how many times have those activists been criticised for, oh, don't show kids that, you can't show that in public, put that away.
Exactly.
Isn't that showing kids the whole process? We're already doing it.
That would be great.
If as a result of their knowledge,
Yeah.
they decide they want to be vegan, no problem. They want to be vegetarian, no
That
problem.
would
Or
be
if, as
great.
the vast majority seem to have done, they make an option to continue eating meat because, like me, they like eating meat.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Like, if you want to be part of the majority like me,
That's this is the personal choice argument, or I shouldn't call it an argument. There are no valid counter arguments to veganism. We'll call it an excuse, a fallacy. I respect your choice to not eat animals, so you should respect my choice, and everybody just respects each other's choices. The thing is, we don't. You don't live on planet Piers. We don't live on our own individual planets. All of our food choices affect the collective majority that co-inhabit this one planet that we share. So every time you purchase animal products, it pollutes the water, it pollutes the air, it pollutes the land that we all live on. So your everybody's food choices have a direct impact on everybody else.
Yes, and
so there is no personal choice, but more to the point,
this whole idea of if the majority is doing it, then it's okay.
Yeah, but also it's no longer a personal choice when it involves somebody else.
That's right.
The pigs are someone else. They're not some things, they're not inanimate objects, they are someone's.
Yes. And the idea that if the majority is doing it, then somehow that's okay. No, it just means that the majority of people are under the false illusion that this is somehow normal.
That's right.
And it's not.
There have been periods in history where the majority agreed with human slavery, where the majority agreed that women shouldn't have the right to vote.
What is the problem with what they're doing? What you want to do is continue...
Sorry, I'll answer your question,
Well,
Piers.
I would say
what
this.
I'm saying...
And this is what
Shut
Piers
up,
constantly
Piers.
does.
You
Constantly talks
idiot.
over the top of people and interjects and doesn't let them form an idea in a sentence and express
No,
themselves.
it's just this dogmatic, I'm going to just beat you into the ground. I
That's
hate
right.
these conversations on mainstream media.
Because they're not conversations.
They're not conversations. It's absolutely...
Ganging up, it's bullying.
This is what you call bullying.
That's right.
Now, we're not convinced that these kind of debates on mainstream TV are actually a good thing. We're very conflicted about this. On one hand, yes, it is good that these issues are brought to the mainstream to be discussed, but to debate it gives the illusion that veganism is something to debate against.
Yeah, when in actual fact there is no valid counter-argument to veganism. There are no moral justifications for killing somebody who wants to live. This is something that we should all just accept as self-evident.
Yeah, and it also becomes like a bit of a gang up, a bit of a bashing of the vegan. It just becomes very aggressive and arguing and shouting over each other.
Yeah, it's not a civilised debate. You've got all of this interjection and talking over the top of by the likes of Piers Morgan, who again are simply spokespeople, puppets of the animal products industry. They're the ones who are advertising during these mainstream media programs.
Yes, so
and they're programs because they're programming us all to believe the lies.
That's right. So I don't know how well the idea of veganism comes off after these discussions in the mainstream. I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave your comments below.
Phrase the question this way. Why would you wish to continue hiding the truth from kids?
Again, apparently the vegans now hiding things. The industry is hiding things from consumers. That's why slaughterhouses are hidden out of public sight and view, because if slaughterhouses had glass walls, more people in the world would be vegan.
That's right. Instead of raising pigs in the schoolyard, why don't we have a schoolyard slaughterhouse?
That's right.
That's showing the kids the truth.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great. I'd love to show children the whole truth. And let's bear in mind, those children who've reared those pigs, they don't know anything about the slaughter process. They're not involved in any way of the slaughter process.
Do you want them to be?
Well, if we're going to have them, then, I think all children should be made aware of the slaughter process in all schools if they eat meat.
Yes.
Perfectly said.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfectly said.
And making them aware, well, let's define that. You can't just use words to tell them,
No.
slaughter, it means nothing.
Show them.
Show
them.
Seeing is believing.
If
Seeing is believing.
In fact, this is a rural community, so you've got access to slaughterhouses. Take them there on a school excursion.
Take them down to the kill floor.
Yeah.
In fact, put the captive bolt gun in their hands and then put the knife in their hands and ask them to shoot the animal in the head and then slit their throat.
That's the full education.
You're a vegan.
Yes.
You accept that, I'm a vegetarian. You accept that most people, however, eat meat.
Correct.
What does that even mean? You accept it. Well, you accept it as a fact. You don't accept it as an action. I accept that a lot of people are racist. That doesn't mean I accept racism.
I accept the fact that human slavery existed. Doesn't mean I need to support it.
That's a ridiculous statement for her to make, really.
I think what she's trying to say is You agree with everybody being able, it's coming back to the personal choice. You accept that everybody has a personal choice as to whether they want to be a vegan or not. And you are still accepting of non-vegans, aren't you?
I think she's actually saying you do accept the reality that the majority of people think the exact opposite to you. You're not some kind of weird hippie living in a cave, are you? You have crawled out from under that rock, haven't you, vegan?
Yeah.
You are aware of the majority of people.
That's right.
That's what I think is patronising.
Yes, and also appealing to the viewers at home who are lapping up the majority of whom are non-vegans, because we live in a largely non-vegan world. Oh yes, that's right, we're still in the majority, they're thinking in their heads, you tell him, he's in the minority.
Because it seems to me that actually you're quite pleased with the way that this school has cared for these animals.
Again, making it a
really
welfare versus use
but
issue.
she's twisting what the vegan's saying,
Yeah. Again, she's trying to get his endorsement for happy meat.
Your problem actually is with the slaughter of all animals for meat.
Yes.
As a vegan, that is his problem.
So
well,
why
that is
are
a
you
problem.
targeting the school, which is actually caring for these animals very well before they're sent to inevitable slaughter? It seems to me your purpose is trying and make everybody vegan.
Oh,
Okay.
don't you do that, you freak.
That's right, painting the vegan as evangelical, as militant, as extreme, as radical, as revolutionary.
Heaven forbid we try and stop people from slaughtering innocent babies. Wow, that's so strange.
Stop the killing? Nah, let's keep it going.
Keep it going.
Particularly when it's unnecessary, it's even better.
Yay! Woo!
Well, it would be nice if everyone went vegan because we would sort out a lot of the global problems.
Perfect answer. You did well there.
But that side, we're not talking about that today. What we're saying is, my main point is...
Well, but it seems like that's exactly what we're talking about today, because you don't like the consumption of any of these products.
The radical, extreme, militant, dogmatic, evangelical vegan again doesn't like anything, not tolerant of anything.
This is coming from a vegetarian, so she's right in the middle there. See, I still participate in the use, exploitation and murder of animals, but I've also got a bit of a, soft place in my heart for them because I don't eat their flesh, I just eat their secretions. I'm actually causing as much cruelty, if not more, than the meat industry, but I can just place myself in the middle there as a vegetarian. That's what's happening with this presenter.
It's a
so
separate
despite
issue.
the fact that this head teacher is actually educating children on how the meat comes to their table, and we know that children sometimes think this stuff grows on trees.
This is the problem.
It's an important
he's not
educational
educating.
process. What he's exactly educating
No,
them.
he's not, because he's not showing all the process.
He's showing more process than any other child in any other...
Yes, but more is not all.
No.
And that's the thing, until you see it, you're going to keep eating it. But once you see it,
Everything changes when you see that throat being slit. And the other thing is, I feel like they're contradicting themselves here, because this is a rural community where a lot of the children are coming from farming families. So the kids already know that meat is coming from animals. The kids are already part of that animal raising process at home or with their extended family and friends' farms. So
but
they know this.
Knowing is not the same as seeing the slaughter or carrying out the slaughter oneself.
He's explaining to children, surely, that when they eat their sausages or their bacon, actually it comes from pigs.
Animals.
And that is the food. That is the food chain that most human beings operate on.
Most human beings operate this way, therefore it's normal. It's not their bacon, it's not their sausages, it's somebody else's body. Let's just make that clear.
Exactly.
And the food chain, Piers, you're going to the supermarket and you're paying for someone else to do the dirty work, and then you pull out your plastic card and you swipe it and you go home and you cook it in your oven.
Yeah.
That's not what happens out in the wild.
No, he's trying, this is like an appeal to nature logical fallacy, but we're living in an unnatural world, and the whole food production system is unnatural.
And we have a
as you just
choice to buy
described.
plants instead of animals.
Yeah, especially when it's unnecessary.
That's right.
Let me go back to
They're not shown a factory farm where 90% of their food comes from.
Do you discuss that,
but
Mr.
they
Wilshire?
do.
So that's what we were saying earlier, is that they're shown this lovely situation of the children raising the pigs and caring for them, but the majority of the products that they're going to eat when they go to the supermarket to purchase that meat is coming from the exact opposite. And again, it doesn't matter where it comes from, but it's that association that they're going to make at the supermarket.
Chris Wilshire, you've had a lot of abuse at the school. over this issue, haven't you? You've had people calling up, abusing
Yes.
you,
Yes,
abusing
we
your
have,
staff
yeah.
members, issuing death threats. Is that right?
Okay, so this is the tactic. The perpetrators always like to paint themselves as the victims. So now the school and the principal and the staff, they're the victims of the abuse here, not the pigs. Let's forget the real victims of abuse who have their lives taken in the most horrendous way. It's the people that have had, mean words said to them.
Now, death threats obviously are not to be taken lightly.
Of course.
However, death threats versus carrying out the murder of innocent being.
Which is worse?
A threat or actually following through. That's what's happening.
Yes. I don't condemn the thousands of vegans and vegetarians who have genuine principles and have signed that petition, but it has also attracted another element who think it's appropriate to phone the school and issue that kind of abuse, and that I find scary.
What's scary is that you're teaching children that it's okay to raise baby animals to a certain age and then have their throats slit and eat their bodies, and you're calling that education. That's what's scary. Again, the death threats are disgusting and should not happen, but the actual act of carrying through death threats and killing babies and normalizing this to children is the worst thing imaginable, and disguising it as education. Disgusting.
And you think you're scared? How do you think the pigs feel? How scared are they? You think you feel abused? How abused do the pigs feel?
We do talk to the youngsters about the slaughter process. We don't visit an abattoir, but they do see examples of poor practice. We look at factory farms and how animals are poorly treated.
Okay, major things here. So you're looking at the poor practices of raising animals in factory farms. Great, important, but you're not talking about how they're actually slaughtered. You're not talking about poor practices of slaughter, you're talking about poor practices of raising, and they're not taken to an abattoir, so they don't see it. You talk to them about it. The pigs will be stunned and then they will have their throats slit. Very different, mate.
Showing,
Very different.
Seeing is believing.
Yeah, until you take them to the abattoir, everything else is absolute nonsense.
So they are under no illusion about where the pigs are going and what is going to happen to them from the outset.
They are under an illusion until they see it.
Can I just interject there and say, is there a way which you can not poorly treat an animal and still kill it? Surely killing it is a very poor thing to do to something which you care for.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Unless you are a meat eater and you find that killing animals is inevitably something that has to happen before you can consume your meat.
Exactly. Does it have to happen? The answer to which is no. It is unnecessary when you can simply eat something else. We're not in survival mode and we don't require it for our own health.
No, what the presenter is saying, essentially, is that some human beings, poor them, they drew the short end of the stick and...
They're obligate carnivores and, geez, they have to eat meat.
Oh, I don't want to eat meat, but I have to.
We're all anatomically, physiologically, biochemically herbivores. We're not obligate carnivores. That's what we should be teaching kids in school as well. The fact that we're not obligate carnivores, even though we behave as a society like omnivores, we are not obligate carnivores and we are actually herbivores. Teach them that. I had to wait over 30 years to find that out. Why? Because it's not taught in the education system. These are the important things.
Well, what are you
Well,
going to
if
do?
you're gonna eat
Are you going
meat,
to go
it has
into
to
every...
Why do you have to eat meat then? If
Oh,
we're
that's
going
a
to
different
broaden the
question.
Do you
question.
understand what happens in jungles?
Oh, jungles though.
Jungles though,
Piers
lions
is born
though.
out of jungles.
Are you a lion, Piers? Do you lick your own genitals? Because lions do that too.
And do animals in the jungle, Piers, walk around wearing the meat scent of Hungry Jack's burgers? Is this what lions do, Piers? Are you just a wild animal in the jungle?
You're an idiot, Piers. That's what you are. And yes, why aren't we addressing the broader question of, is it necessary to kill animals? And if not, then why are we doing it?
Yes,
you understand
I do
that
understand.
animals eat animals to sustain
Absolutely.
themselves?
I mean, they have to, but they don't have a moral code that we do.
Can
we
I
have
also
intelligence
ask,
and a moral
do you
code.
think
Yeah, that was answered very well. And again, these kind of debates on television, like this program with someone like Piers, it's like the bottom of the barrel. It's so base, it's so pathetically pulling out all the typical excuses. You've got jungle though, lions though, taste though. Can we evolve
Personal choice, though.
past that?
Yeah.
Like, is there anything of depth to this person and to this show?
On mainstream media, not really. Having said that, the vegan has very well
He has.
debunked a lot of those logical fallacies and common excuses that meat eaters have.
Yeah.
What about if you just like eating meat?
I guess that makes it okay then, doesn't it? If you like something, that's moral justification to do anything.
That is like I'm sorry, it's like the dumbest thing to possibly say. I like it, therefore it's okay.
Bacon, though. That's
It
the
really
equivalent.
is. I mean, if we were to use that for any other crime against any other being, I mean, someone likes sex, therefore is rape okay? Oh, well, I'm just going to go down the street and rape as many women as I like because I like it. It feels good. I want to. We would never accept that. I mean, that's insane.
It is. The Chinese that take part in the Yulin Dog Festival,
Yes.
well, they like it, so I guess that entitles them to do it. Yeah, that's morally justifiable. They like it.
Well, why should vegans suddenly have this kind of tyrannical thing?
Here we go. The tyrannical, militant, extreme, radical, revolutionary vegans.
But how did he spit it out? Vegans.
Yeah.
It's like venom,
Yeah.
you know? Calling a vegan tyrannical when you're
It
the
reminds
words don't come out. I can't with this man.
It reminds me of the scene from Carnage when
Yes.
the vegan is speaking with the presenter and the vegan says, "We're not vegans, they're carnists." And this is the point that we're getting to as a society, yeah?
Yeah, we're reaching that tipping point.
We are. Because you got to remember that vegans are the only ones who have to wear the label when they're
Yes.
not committing the abuse,
Yes.
yeah? A rapist wears the label of rapist because they're committing the rape. A murderer wears the label. A child molester wears the label. Why should vegans wear the label for not participating in the killing? That's why carnists should wear the label, because they are the ones committing the atrocities, supporting the atrocities with their dollar.
Where they can ring up schools and issue death threats to people.
That is really, I mean, I would speak to anyone out there who's doing that. Chris and the school is a fantastic school, and no one should ever phone up and speak in this way. Or
Yeah, that's right. He handled that perfectly. You know, it's not acceptable to do that.
anyway,
What sort of
and I'd say
person
to him,
phones up
don't
a
do that.
school and issues a death threat?
What sort of person actually carries out with death threats and has animals sent to their deaths unnecessarily?
And teaches children that that's normal and calls it education.
That's what we should be questioning. That's the real question.
What's the person
Unfortunately,
who cares about other living things?
unfortunately, there are
phones a school
trolls
and
out
issues a
and
death
all.
threat?
I think
Unbelievable.
I don't think we can actually say 100% they are vegans. They are sometimes people who just want to cause problems, and I would disassociate from myself from anyone who wants to do that.
I'm so glad he said that, because we would put our money on this, that it was probably the meat industry, you know, sneaking in there and just trying to cause problems and put it on the vegans. Why
To
would
make
they?
vegans look bad, to make vegans, to reinforce that stereotype of being tyrannical, evangelical, radical, extremist, militant, dogmatic.
And
you know.
dangerous and violent. See, I mean, this is what the presenter was trying to do. Like, you're a hypocrite. How can you care for some beings and then want to cause the death of other beings? So that kind of rules out anything that you're saying, vegans, because look, you're just as violent as, you know, you say us meat eaters are.
Yeah, and if you don't think the meat industry is capable of this, the animal products industry is a multi-billion, if not trillion-dollar industry. They have a lot of money to lose. They have a massive vested interest, deep pockets. Take the egg industry, for example. They actually got together and, you know, jokingly asked whether they could put a hit on a competitor who was creating a plant-based eggless mayonnaise.
Yeah.
So if they can do that, you don't think they can organise a few trolls to call up the school and pose as vegans and issue a few death threats?
Of course. Anyway, that's our response, guys. At the end of the day, as we found out, the pigs were sent back to the farmer. Now, the school was given the option that the vegan parents begged for the pigs to be released and to be sent to a sanctuary to be taken care of and to live the rest of their life in peace. The school chose to show no mercy. They instead sent them back to the farmer, who will inevitably send them to the slaughterhouse. The pigs will be slaughtered for meat. So that's the position of the school. No mercy was shown to the animals. Having said that, the school was put under enough pressure from the general public to, you know, have to send the pigs back and try and wipe their hands of this situation, and they are now deciding whether they will do this in the future. Apparently, actually, this has been going on for like a decade, where they're raising animals with the students, slaughtering them and then feeding them back to the kids. I just find it incredibly sadistic. It's just...
Yeah, it reminds me very much of the fireman that rescued the pigs from the fire, and then the reward to the fireman was the farmer cooking them up sausages that had come from those pigs, or bacon.
Yeah, and feeding it to the firemen, and they were eating it. They were liking it. It was just sick. It's sick what we do. And again, all we have to do is replace those pigs with dogs. That's all we have to do, and imagine that. Imagine that.
It's not okay for the dogs, and it's not okay for the pigs, and it's not okay for any species. Otherwise, we're just being speciesist, which is no different to any other form of discrimination like racism or sexism, which we all collectively agree are wrong and evil and need to be done away with.
That's right.
They're our thoughts, guys.
Time to hear
from you. Let us know what you thought in the comments below.
Yes, make sure you give this video a like, share it around to help us raise awareness, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ding that bell so you can receive notifications every time we upload a new video.
And remember, until next time, that going vegan is not the most we can do.
It really is the least we can do. See you next video.
Bye, guys.